Billionaire investor Warren Buffett is firing back after Donald Trump attacked his tax history. The Republican nominee has faced criticism for using a deduction that could have helped him legally avoid paying federal taxes for years. In Sunday's debate, Donald Trump said that Warren Buffett used the same practice.
Now, the taxes are a very simple thing. As soon as I have, first of all, I pay hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes. Many of our friends took bigger deductions. Warren Buffett took a massive deduction. Soros, who's a friend of hers, took a massive deduction. Many of the people that are giving her all this money that she can do many more commercials than me, took massive deductions.
In a statement yesterday, Buffett said Trump, quote, has not seen my income tax returns, and I have paid federal income tax every year since 1944 when I was 13. CBS News financial contributor Mellody Hobson joins us now from Chicago. We want to point out, and she wants to point out, that she supports Hillary Clinton, as does Warren Buffett. Mellody, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So I know you've talked to a source that's very close to Warren Buffett. Was he watching the debate and he heard his name and he thought what?
He was very annoyed, very. And my source said it was just because it was factually incorrect what was being stated, and he felt the need first thing Monday morning to set the record straight, which is why he released a summary of his 2014 tax return and just spelled out the facts and the numbers and debunked any idea that he had taken some kind of big loss to not pay taxes.
He basically made the point that he had not used a carry forward for his personal income taxes.
Correct. But he said and specifically my source says he never has in the 73 years that he's been filing taxes.
But the type of the deduction that Donald Trump is being criticized for is called a net operating loss carry forward. That has been voted into law, supported by both Democrats and Republicans. Arguably, no one has used it quite to the extent, perhaps, that Donald Trump has. But this has had bipartisan support in the past, and many businesses, personal people use it, correct?
Totally legal. And again, we don't know that how many people have used it in this way, but it's totally legal. So that is true. And it's very simple. He took a big loss, and the law says that you can use that loss to offset future income. So it's very simple math.
So Mellody, let's just spend a minute on that. Why does that exist within the law?
Why does it exist? It's basically goes back to tax code for a long, long time, and it's basically a way for people to recoup losses that they have had.
Right. So, for instance, someone who owns a lawn mowing company, if they had a year where there were floods and terrible and they lost all their money, then the next year they wouldn't have to pay taxes.
As much in taxes, correct.
It also depends on whether it's a subchapter S corporation, doesn't it, Mellody?
We're getting very technical here, but that's true. That's the big difference between what we're looking at with Buffett and what we're looking at with Trump.
Exactly.
Lots of private companies where Buffett is the head of a big public company where we have a lot more transparency.
Okay, Mellody, here's something that's not so technical. Warren Buffett has called on Donald Trump to release his tax returns. He disputes that he can't do it while he's under audit. What would we specifically learn from those tax returns?
Yeah, so he said he's under audit. He'd release his. He said, show me mine. You show me yours. I'll show you mine. We just need a very small section to understand his financial picture. His son has said he's not releasing because the returns are 25,000 pages long. This is all we need. Page 1, it would tell us his income, any losses that he has. Page 2, it would tell us how much he pays in taxes, and we could compute his effective tax rate. Section A, it would tell us any kind of deductions that he has, including charitable, and then Schedule A, and then Schedule D, which would tell us any kind of capital gains or losses he has had from any kind of asset sales, a building, a stock. It's pretty simple. That's all we would need. We'd have 80 to 90% of his financial picture just from that very limited amount of information.
And Mellody, he says, though, that his financial disclosure form he filed with the FEC covers most of that. Is that true?
No. So I actually went and looked at the filing. And the difference between a tax return and this financial filing, tax return specific, the financial filing talks in generalities and estimates.
Is Warren Buffett now saying, Donald Trump, keep your name out of my conversation? Keep my name out of your conversation. Yeah.
Basically, that's what he said.
All right. Thank you very much, Mellody.
Great to have you, Mellody.